In Lagos schools, a call has once again been made for a revamp of the education sector and curriculum of learning in the country. This call was made by educationalists and stakeholders at the valedictory service of the Global Heritage Academy in Lagos. Susan Modo has details.
The need to foster among students a responsibility and motivation for learning, as well as moral respect for personal dignity, cannot be overemphasized. These were some of the attributes of the graduating students of the Heritage Global Academy in Ikorodu, Lagos State, which parents and other well-wishers say they hope will be imbibed in students all over the country. While speaking to journalists, the proprietor of the school emphasized on the need to imbibe the sense of leadership in school children, adding that it defines the growth of the future society at large.
If there is anything that we should say that is at the core of the challenges that we face as a country and even the continent as a whole, is about the dearth of leadership. So we would observe that most of the countries that are great today that we visit for holiday, for businesses, had it so good just because nature blessed them with very foresight leaders. There's a need for us to find people who are very deliberate about leadership, whom will start growing from their youthful age and into their adulthood. And that is one of the very core reasons why we concentrate, we focus so much on, raising these leaders for society, to not only Nigeria, but for the whole of the continent.
For some guests present at the event, the restructuring of the country's educational system is of vital importance. They urge the federal government to introduce skills acquisition-based subjects which will be in line with international standards.
Practitioners in the field have been calling on government to let us get to that standard, that international standard. Although the international standard too can be deceitful, because everything we do, we have to bring it back home. We have to domesticate it. Let us get to that standard that will get to that level where the funding of education will be amongst the things that will take the prime of place. Because once you educate people, once you liberate the mind of people, every other thing will fall in place. So let us be hopeful that government will, come up to that standard and help us in funding education very well.
A lot has to be done. I've listened to the young people when they were introducing them. 9 of them were introduced. Only one of them said he would like to be a surgeon. The others were talking about the current and the future professions. I didn't see anybody say I wanted to be an engineer, accountant. I didn't see any of them mention that. And that is the issue. The curriculum of today that will be relevant for today and tomorrow are things that have to be put into the curriculum of Nigeria education. Things that can make them to be self-employed. Things, professions, subjects that will make them to be able to think outside the box.
The graduating students of the day expressed delight and gave thanks to God and the school for the opportunity afforded them to sip from the wisdom of knowledge domiciled in the school.
Basically, I want to be a software developer. Yeah, so by doing that, when I earn my money, I aim to contribute highly into the sustainable development goals that were set up by the United Nations organization. So basically, that's like my biggest goal. I want to contribute greatly to developing Africa and the world at large.
I really believe the first step is for the government to change their mindsets. The normal ideology is that it's a 6-year course and there's just this rigid and stationary mode of learning. What they need to do is they need to revamp that. They need to show that, they can learn outside the 4 walls of the classroom. They need to change the scope and change the stance of education in Nigeria today. That is the very first step to inculcating something like this in our school into government schools. And I believe when they start that, they are on a path to success. Well, I hope to be a writer, and not just any writer. I want to be someone who inspires youth, especially those of color, to not let age, race, sex, or religion limit their potential in life and everything.
issue